Hello, everybody. Welcome to Talk About House. I'm Todd.
I'm Juana.
Okay, today we're going to talk about a bunch of home price predictions for 2024. These are not ours. These are industry experts, banks, data companies, things like that.
People smarter than us.
People smarter than us. But what we need you to do is we are like this close to 10,000 subscribers to the channel.
And you don't want us to miss it by that much.
That much. If you get the reference, missed it by that much, then put it in the comments. Okay, yes. So we're going to do is we're going to go through all these home price estimates, and then we're going to point out, we're going to go through all the companies and these, and their estimate. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go look at what they estimated in 2023. Okay? So, this is going to be fun. All right. So here's the first one. This is Morgan Stanley. Will house prices drop in 2024? Morgan Stanley updates prediction.
Okay. So can I take a guess? Because I haven't seen any of this.
No, she hasn't seen any of this. This is all new to her.
Which is pretty normal, as you have figured out. So my guess, so can I do the thumbs up and thumbs down as to which way Morgan Stanley is doing it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Up or down? Home prices up or down?
Morgan Stanley is going to say down.
Okay. Back in August, the Manhattan-based multinational investment bank and financial services company predicted that house prices would drop 2% next year. Now, Morgan Stanley has released a report containing a bear case scenario where home prices could drop by as much as 5% next year. There's a caveat to this, which we're going to go over because it's going to make you laugh. So they're saying it's 2%, but it could be as low as 5%. They didn't put an upper range, like the best case scenario. They just have their estimate and then a worst case scenario, right? Okay. Now here's the thing, Juana. Okay. If home sales remain at these levels, so today's level of home sales, for extended period of time, we become even more reliant on inventory staying at record lows to prevent home prices from falling, the report reads. So they're basically already counteracting their whole thing about home prices falling. In our view, even a 5% growth in inventory next year would yield a 5% drop in home prices by December 2024 if it came alongside zero increase in sales. So we're saying if more houses come on the market but the same number of people buy, then it's a 5% drop in prices.
No duh. So if we have more inventory but we have the same volume of sales, then yeah, then that means that there's insufficient demand for the homes on the market. But that's not the case, because we know that we've had insufficient inventory for multiple years at this point, and more buyers willing and able to buy than we have inventory. So their premise leaves a lot to be desired.
Okay, here's the next one. Home prices are expected to rise in 2024. There's simply not enough homes to meet demand, says economist. Okay? All right.
So and in the same breath, home prices are going to go down 5%, but they're going to go up.
This is a different person.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Now remember, when we did one last year, we had all the data of what they had estimated, but these are different. This is for next year, okay? Here's the quote. That's because homes aren't being built fast enough to keep up with demand. That's an accurate statement, which puts upward pressure on prices. Also an accurate statement. Says Lawrence Yun, NAR chief economist at National Association of Realtors. With too few homes for too many buyers, NAR expect home prices to rise by 2.6% in 2024. Okay. That's probably not unrealistic.
That's probably much closer to reality, yes.
Okay. Here's Freddie Mac. Likewise, Freddie Mac is forecasting prices rising by 0.8% between August 2023 and August 2024, followed by another 0.9% gain in the following 12 months. Now, those will not beat inflation. They are price increases, but they won't beat inflation, right?
Right.
Okay. Part of the rebound in prices is based on the large cohort of millennial first-time homebuyers reaching prime home buying age, Freddie Mac reports. So at least they have, they're using demographics. Mm-hmm. Okay?
Yeah, Freddie Mac is really good about that.
Okay. Zillow has a similar forecast as it expects home values to rise by 6.5% from July 2023 through July 2024, despite persistent affordability challenges.
So we know what's interesting about Zillow. Zillow is always bullish, and Zillow always is usually almost always at the top of the price increases. But there's a reason for that. So while I'm not Zillow's biggest cheerleader, I do understand how they come up with those numbers. Because remember, Zillow tracks buyer demand, because they track all those clicks. So everybody goes on Zillow to check what their home is worth or to check what's going on with inventory. So that gives them a kind of a good idea of the interest in the market. I'm not sure how good Zillow is at differentiating between buyers and sellers. So I think that's part of the reason why they end up being so high all the time, because I think that they're looking at buyers and sellers as one group rather than two separate groups, because not all sellers are also buyers. But I think that Zillow is onto something as far as the amount of buyer demand.
Here's Moody's. Moody's says it's premature to celebrate the end of the housing correction. Remember, home prices are up year over year, okay? So this is a pretty bad correction if they're correcting up, which is why it expects median home price to decrease by 3.5% between the fourth quarters of 2023 and 2024, according to an updated forecast provided to CNBC Make It. House prices have proven to be more resilient than expected in light of higher mortgage rates and affordability challenges, Fannie Mae researchers wrote. The economists, however, are still predicting home prices to decelerate next year, not decrease. Because remember, last year they predicted like 4.5% for 2023. So now they're saying it's going to slow to 2.8% year over year. So it's still going to go up, but at a slower rate.
So these guys actually have been the most accurate over time.
Fannie Mae has been the most accurate.
Yeah. So I think that's an interesting take on it. And the idea that home price increases will slow down is not out of the realm of reality, okay? But what I've said before is if more sellers come on the market, it sounds counterintuitive that if there are more homes on the market, then home prices are going to go down. Not necessarily, because depending on what else is happening in the market, you could actually see home prices go up. Because if the reason that home sellers come on the market is because interest rates go down, that means that sellers are more willing to go out there and buy something else, and that's why they're willing to sell.
Yep.
And then that just kind of is going to cause kind of a feeding frenzy. So that'll be an interesting thing to watch. But I do agree with them that all things being equal, so interest rates not budging and all things kind of staying the way they are in this moment, I think that 2024 will be very similar to 2023 in the sense of it being lackluster, nothing exciting, not anything dramatic happening. But if interest rates do go down, I think you're going to see a lot more turn in the market, a lot more transactions take place.
I think so too. If rates fell next year to 4%, I still think the people wouldn't just en masse sell. I think all it would do, you would have some more homes come on the market, but demand would be even more.
Right.
That's my personal opinion.
Right, which is why I said that you'd have more of a feeding frenzy, you'd have more multiple offers.
Okay.
Yes.
Home prices are poised to drop as the frozen housing market thaws, two top experts say. This will be a good one. You're going to like this. U.S. home prices may decline. Moody's chief economist Mark Zandi and Redfin CEO Glenn Kelman said Moody's has been the most pessimistic. They've predicted home price decline every year for the last 5 years.
Okay.
And they haven't gotten any of them right. They're literally, one day, Moody's is going to brag that 1 year they predicted the home price decline, when every year they say it's going to decline.
Okay. What's their name?
Moody.
That's right.
Remember,
that says it all.
Moody's is the one that was giving AAA ratings to all those subprime loans that you saw in the movie The Big Short. Mm-hmm. That was Moody's that did that. Oh, yeah, they're all AAA. And they all failed, okay? All right. Here's the Kelman, who's the CEO of Redfin, expects home prices to drop next year as listings are up and sellers are cutting prices. That's interesting. The only way out of the box, the only way to get sales back up is mortgage rates have to come down. Incomes, okay, if mortgage rates go down, there's going to be a feeding frenzy. Incomes have to continue to improve, agree with that. And we have to avoid a recession. I thought a recession was going to be good for people trying to buy because foreclosures would happen and there would be home prices tank. And I suspect we'll have to see some house price declines at some point here. Moody's chief economist, he's literally, there's no data behind his statement. It's all hyperbole. Everything in his statement is hyperbole. He's just generalizing.
Yeah, I don't have anything nice to say, so I'm going to be quiet.
Okay. All right. Here's another quote. Redfin CEO Glenn Kelman made a similar call in the Fox News interview this week. Asked about Morgan Stanley's latest forecast of a 3% drop in home prices next year, he replied, that decline seems not just possible but likely.
Okay, but remember, he's also jonesing for listings. So the more he seeds people out there with doubt and fear, the more he's hoping that his agents will benefit and his brand will benefit from those transactions.
Also, if people aren't searching, because remember, they make almost all of their money from advertising. So, and they've never made money. Redfin's they lost $1 billion flipping houses. They've never made money. But the thing is, unless people are going to Redfin's site to look for homes and they can sell ads, they're not making money. So he just needs to get people on the site. Mm-hmm. That's why he's out there doing all these, he's talking to everybody, trying to get some awareness about what Redfin is, even though most people don't use them. They go to Zillow or Realtor.com. Mm-hmm. Okay. I don't expect the housing market to come roaring back here, certainly not 2024, he said. Probably won't be until 2025, 2026 before we see sales levels that are more consistent with what we've enjoyed historically. He's not talking about prices now. He's talking about sales levels.
Right. He's talking about the number of transactions. And remember, that's what the name of the game is in the real estate industry is number of transactions. How many transactions can you turn? Because that's how we make money. We don't really care what homes sell for as agents. What we care about is the number of transactions we can turn because that's how we make money.
Housing's taken on the chin, particularly demand's end. He said he pointed to new data showing annualized sales of previously owned homes fell below 3.8 million units in October, the lowest figure in 13 years. You'd have to go back to the teeth of the financial crisis to find sales that low. Okay, here's that 13-year number. They don't want to go back 14 years because it's only the second lowest year, right?
Right.
So, here's the other thing. If the sales are so slow, why were home prices up 3, 4, 5, 6% depending on what metric you look at? Remember, we were told last year that interest rates would go up 40 to 50% price declines.
Didn't happen. Interest rates went up, price declines, didn't happen. Again, the market is strong because of all the things that we've talked about ad nauseum at this point. We have more buyers than we have homes for sale. We have 42% of homes out there free and clear. Over 95%, 97% of homes out there that do have mortgages have mortgages that are below 5%. Most of them are 3% or better. And then the people that do have mortgages that are 6% or more, those people are pretty recent. So they make up a small percentage of the market. And because those people just bought homes, they're going to be in those homes a while, right? Because most people at this point are in their homes about 10 years.
Okay, here's a quote. This made me laugh out loud. The market has just been frozen because buyers and sellers can't agree on a price, Kelman said. For the first time, there's a break in the logjam where we might see a real drop in prices, and that's going to spur sales. 3.8 million people could decide on a price, and it was a higher price than they would have paid last year for the same houses. Mm-hmm. That kind of blew my mind. Okay, now this is what we're going to do. Now, here's the thing. We know in the last year, home prices are up 3 to 6%, depending on whether it's a median sales price or an index sales price. Home prices are up year over year, okay? These were the estimates for what 2023 would bring last year about this time.
Okay.
Here we go. Remember, these are all the guys that are guessing what's going to happen next year. Let's see how far off they were. This was Morgan Stanley's. Home prices will fall 7%. And they were off by about 10%. Okay, that's pretty far. Home prices that literally are probably one of the most predictable. We're not predicting the price of Bitcoin. Literally, home prices are one of the most predictable things in the world. They missed it by 10%. Okay? The banking giant Morgan Stanley became one of the most recent to join the chorus of housing bears. It's predicting U.S. home price will fall 7% by the end of 2023. Mm-hmm. Wow, not close. Here's Goldman Sachs.
Okay.
Home prices poised to fall 5 to 10%. They wouldn't even pick a number. They picked a range, and they were wrong.
And the range was pretty big. 5 to 10% is a pretty big range.
Now here's Moody's. Home prices will 5 to 10% more if recession hits.
Okay. Again, plus, pick a number, guys. At 5 to 10%, it's a pretty huge number. 5
of the last 7 recessions, home prices went up because interest rates tanked. Mm-hmm. The Fed tanked interest rates. Remember, a recession doesn't mean foreclosures. There is a 3-year lag in people losing jobs and foreclosures happening. Here's Wells Fargo. Home prices will fall over 5%. And they were wrong too. Okay, remember the Oracle of Wall Street?
Yes.
Poison Ivy Zelman. Home prices will fall 4% 23 and another 5% 2024. Not even close, okay? Capital Economics. Home prices will fall 8%. What I left out, there were some that were predicting as high as 20%. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
They
I
were
do.
some research firms. They weren't the larger banks or like more legitimate sources.
Right. So the point of this, besides making fun of them, which was really enjoyable,
Yep.
it was also to make a point about how really smart people and really credible institutions put out a lot of information that ends up not panning out. So when you make choices that make sense for you, your situation, and concern yourself a little bit less with what the smart people out there are saying, because they too are wrong, and they're wrong a lot more than I think most of us realize. I think that you making choices based on your particular situation is much more likely to give you a positive result than making choices based on the smart people out in the media.
We are not saying home prices will always go up.
Nope.
Every year. We famously said last June, the peak of the market, when everyone called for 40 to 50%, we said it's not going to happen. The home prices will moderate. Mm-hmm. They're just going to kind of move around sideways. They're just going to kind of adjust and figure out where they need to be. And that's literally what they did. They dropped a bit in the fall. They came roaring back in the spring. They kept climbing through this year so far. They're up from the peak year over year from June to June. Nationally, they were up still, even at the peak, which no one would have believed that would have happened. So, these research firms, they don't know, which is kind of scary. They're the experts in the economy, and they don't have a clue. Do you remember the article we read? It was 100% chance of recession in the next 12 months. It was 100%. And this article was from August of 2022. And guess what didn't happen between August 2022 and the next 12 months?
We didn't have a recession.
We didn't have a recession.
So I think it's going to be really interesting. We're living in a time where AI is growing by leaps and bounds. So I think it's going to be interesting to see as these AI models learn more and start making more of these predictions to see if their accuracy is different or better than these firms that have been around for a very long time, have been very puffy about their credentials, and we've seen now historically that a broken clock is right twice a day, but these guys not that often. So I think it'll be interesting to see. I think a lot of people are going to start looking to AI more and more to get a better idea of what's more likely to happen in the future, because I think we're not the only ones noticing that these really large firms with stellar reputations that when you're looking at the data perhaps is unearned, have been wrong so much. So I'm interested to see how we move forward with these forecasts, and I think that's a more accurate term than predictions, using AI. So we'll see.
If you're training an AI on a large language model, mm-hmm. for real estate specifically, do not let it read anything from Morgan Stanley, from Moody's, or from Redfin, okay? Because it's just gonna confuse it, right?
Right.
It's gonna read this opinion, and it's gonna be pretty good.
So we hope you had fun with the video. Remember to leave us your real estate related comments. We appreciate them. Please remember to subscribe, hit the notification bell, share the video, like the video, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye.
Bye.